Now the last step in the whole process is cutting the slots in the bridge. As you can see, this one is finished. It's for a 5-string, and the slots are such that they're just barely touching the top. There's just a slight little slot there, but on the back they're fairly deep, because what we want is the strings come down like this, so you want the natural angle of the strings from the tailpiece to the bridge, and this is about 15 degrees or so. So the way we do this is I have a template that's at 1.2 centimeters. It happens to be crow spacing, and I put the center line in this template right in the center. You can just eyeball this, and then take my magic marker here and mark them out. And because this is for a claw hammer banjo, I make the fifth string slightly wider. Then I take my files, and for this particular banjo, they're a 35, a 28, a 20, and a 16, because that's the size of the slightly bigger than the size of the strings. And I'll show you how to do it with the 35. I put my file right on the line there, and I do a parallel cut right across the top, just so it barely breaks the top there. And that's how we judge where the string will come out, and it's at the height of 5/8 inches. Now I always use a little paraffin with these particular nut files. These are from Stu Mack, and I put my file on like this. I bend it at 15 degrees and start filing away parallel to the tabletop until it just reaches that little slot that I made. And there it is. And now I do this with the rest of the slots, and that part is finished. Now I like a bridge not to bite me, so I take, this is a Revlon nail file. It's actually a micro file, or it may be even be diamonds, but it's great for nail files are great for fixing your instrument up. So I just break the corners on this, break the corner here, just smoothing it out, smooth out there, and that way when your hand brushes against the bridge, it doesn't feel bad. And in fact, it feels kind of silky, because this particular wood is a very silky feeling wood. It's sapella wood with a Purple Heart top. And then I take a piece of 600 grit paper, and I just kind of work all the little fuzz off of it. Just finish it up and look nice. My wood carving teacher told me I had to do this, and there we have a completed bridge. Now I always put my initials, I usually burn them in with wood, on the part that's slanted this way, because that's the front, and that tells the banjo player to put this towards the peg head, and the strings are slanted down like this. And there you have the finished product. here's the finished product. This one is an all sapella bridge. You can see it's as I pointed out, it's designed so that there's a slanted face towards the peg head. There's a upright 90-degree face in the back, and the strings are slotted to be at about 15 degrees. It's pretty easy to make. With power tools, you can make one of these bridges from a blank in about 10 minutes. With hand tools, it may take 20 minutes or so. And if you don't like it, you just make another one. Wood's important because the kind of wood that you use makes a difference in the sound. It's very important to have the grain of the wood lined up properly. And interestingly, this one has the grain going from the strings right to the head. And I found that in these cello banjos, it gave a richer sound. But my friend Paul Roberts tells me that the Purple Heart sapella ones with the grain running parallel to the head work extremely well for the 5-string cello banjos. So you just try this particular design out, make a different design if you like, mess around with woods and types, and you'll find that you'll have a lot of fun doing it. Addendum. The power tools that I use to make these bridges are very, very dangerous. Their sole purpose in life is not to cut wood, but to cut the fingers off of your hands. And if they don't cut the fingers off, they'll cut the arms off. Or if you're a table saw, they'll drive a piece of wood right through your belly. You have to be very careful, and I'm extremely paranoid around them. I wear all my safety equipment, including the respirators. I stand aside whenever I cut anything on the table saw, and I'm very careful not to stick my fingers into moving parts. And that includes this belt sander especially. In fact, I've already done it once, these fingers, on the same night that we had our session. Fortunately, Vinnie Mandela, who's a very well-known banjo luthier, gave me a hint one day. He said that if that ever happens to you, assuming you don't do it down to the bone, put a little bit of the thin cyanoacrylate glue on there and then spritz it with the accelerator, and it burns for a little while, then the pain goes away. So it has and then it protects it with a skin over the top of it. So I've done that, and then I cut my finger on in another accident not related to woodworking, and they glued it together with cyanoacrylate glue. Except, of course, that glue was about $100 an ounce, whereas the stuff you get from Loctite, which is the one I use because it's made in Ireland, is much cheaper.